friends, it's Kay. Welcome back to my channel and happy March. I hope February treated all of you with kindness and success, and I hope all of you found some wonderful reads, and I hope March continues to bring good things for you. So today I am bringing you all my January and February wrap up, and I actually have done really well these last 2 months. I read 3 books in January and 3 books in February for a total of 6 books to be talking about with you today, and I'm so proud of myself and I'm so happy to share with you all these wonderful reads. So let's just jump right into it. So funny story, I actually don't have any of these books with me right now. When I go home on the weekends, I trade out my books, the ones I've read for ones I haven't read. So these are all back at my house, and I'm just gonna have to insert pictures, but hey, less chaos with me moving my books around, I guess, is a good thing. But yes, so first I'm gonna start with my January reads, and I'm going to talk to you all about what I loved about them and why they are rated this business as usual, if you will. So let's get started. So the first book I read in 2020 was none other than The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and I am not as crazy about this book as everyone else, but I cannot deny this book was beautifully written and gave such an amazing commentary. I ended up loving Addie as a main character, and I was rooting for her this whole time, and it was so wonderful. I wasn't as big a fan of Henry as anyone else, and I really wish we could see more of Luke. But all that aside, what I loved about The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue was the book's take on life and time and how life is worth living and all grief and sorrow will pass if given enough time. And I just loved that message in Addie LaRue. Life is messy and chaotic, but overall it is worth living, and V.E. Schwab's delivery of that message and her gorgeous lyrical writing was amazing. And it was most definitely my favorite part of Addie LaRue. I liked it, but the ending didn't break me in a weird way. I liked the ending a lot. I think it was fitting, and I think in its own way the ending was really well done. So I gave Addie LaRue 4 stars, and I do recommend it if you are interested. And the second book I read in January was Bookish and the Beast, the 3rd book in the Once Upon a Con series. Now, I read Geekerella in December of 2020, and it became my 5th favorite book of 2020. I fell in love with the characters and the writing and the very, very well done take on a contemporary modern day fairy tale retelling. So I went into Bookish and the Beast with high expectations, and it's not my favorite Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it was still super well done. I gave it 4 stars, and the author gave very clever one-liners that reference back to the Disney Beauty and the Beast, and every time I read one, I just got the biggest smile on my face. It was great. I loved those. I love when Beauty and the Beast retellings take lines and concepts from the Beauty and the Beast fairy tale and the Disney Beauty and the Beast and merge it to where it can fit into a regular conversation, and it just made me happy every time it came up. Yeah, Bookish and the Beast was 4 stars, and I do love the Once Upon a Con series. So I haven't read the 2nd book yet because that one doesn't interest me as much. We'll see, maybe I'll read it in the future, but yes. And the last book I read in January was a book I have been wanting to get to for the longest time, and I am so happy I finally got around to it, and that is The Red Point Crux by Morgan Shami. I talked about this in my anticipated releases of the first half of 2020, and I finally got around to it. I didn't get the creepy, cold aesthetic I wanted when I read this book because in Florida in January it was like 70 degrees. I think I posted it on my story at some point. I was reading it at 73 degrees and it was sunny out. But nonetheless, this book was really good. I highly enjoyed it. For weeks after I read it, different scenes replayed in my head, and it just really stuck with me, so kudos. The Phantom of the Opera elements in this book were excellent. I loved the creepy atmosphere of the theater. That was definitely a high point of the book. I do wish we got more ballet elements, and the author used to be a professional ballerina, and her husband's a rock climber, so she had both those elements in the book for a good portion of it, but we didn't get as much ballet time as I wanted. However, I forgave it because the murder mystery that encompassed the whole book was so well done, and it definitely carried the story along. The main character, Megan, did annoy me slightly. but I was able to overlook it and keep reading because Bellamy, Liam, and Jane were some other main-ish characters that I did enjoy reading about, so I was able to forgive Megan when she annoyed me, and I carried on. I did have some minor issues with the pacing and all that, but overall I was able to overlook it really well because I was encompassed in the murder mystery and the atmosphere of the story, and I thought it was very well done. I gave this 3.5 stars, and I do recommend it if you like creepy theater, ballet, phantom vibes. So yeah, moving on to February. My first book of February became a new favorite. It's been a month now, and I am still thinking back to this book and the tears and emotions it brought me. It was so well done, and I finally read it after having put it on so many TBRs last year, and that is none other than Lovely War by Julie Berry. 5 stars, a new favorite of all time. I cannot recommend this enough, and if you've ever seen me in real life, you know I'm recommending it to you. The emotions this beautiful story made me feel were none other. I read it in my friend's dorm for most of this time, and I would just scream and almost cry randomly, and they just gave me looks, but they got over it. Julie Berry has such a gorgeous, encompassing writing that just drew me in and kept me hooked every page. It's definitely a little slower paced, but it was so beautiful and the story unfolds so naturally. I was in love the whole time. Hazel and James, who are one of the main couples of the story, stole my heart. Vintage babies, oh my gosh, I cried over them. Just watching these two genuinely fall in love over letters and one-day brief meetups over the course of World War I was breathtaking. They stole my heart. Oh my gosh. And then the other couple, Colette and Audrey, were so natural, and I was rooting for them the whole time. And plus the friendships in this book were A+, 110% own my heart. Just Julie Berry brought everything I love about a good book together, and not to mention the Greek gods narrating the story had me laughing, and I actually really liked Aphrodite. For once, like normally she's written in such a way that I cannot get behind her, but Julie Berry brought Aphrodite to a new level of humanity, and she gave her such a cool, compelling motivation and story, and I love it. Not to mention I was reading for her in Hephaestus, and I don't think I've ever done that in my life, so brilliant job, Julie Berry. But yeah, in case it wasn't obvious, I love this book, 5 stars. I want to read it again in the future, and go read Lovely War. And my February TBR was consisted of romance. So I finally read a Jenn Bennett book, one of the many books I got in my Bookmas 2020 haul. And the one that interested me most was Chasing Lucky, and I loved it. I know why people love Jenn Bennett now, and I cannot wait to read more of her future works. Why did I love this book? What can I say? I'm a sucker for childhood best friends to lovers, and Josie Lucky delivered. Bennett had such a good commentary on coming-of-age issues, and she delivered them in such a lighthearted way, but you could still see the seriousness of these issues. And Josie and Lucky had such a natural development in their relationship, and it was just, I loved it. 4 stars. I cannot wait to read more of Jenn Bennett in the future. And now the last book I read in February that I finished this week actually was Of Curses and Kisses, and this is another contemporary Beauty and the Beast retelling that takes place in a boarding school. And not gonna lie, I was nervous to go into it because I've seen multiple people with my same reading taste not like this book. So I was a little weary and nervous, but I was hooked. I loved it. It put me on a reading high by the end of it because I was screaming as I was reading the ending, and my friends declared me on a book high. So yeah, this book delivered on that. The Beauty and the Beast elements were so subtle and really uniquely done. I loved them, and the boarding school setting added a whole new, like, cool vibe to it. I want to protect Gray. This boy has suffered way too much. And Jaya grew on me. At first I was like, what are you doing, girl? But then she had so much development throughout the book, and I just am so proud of her. And just her and her sister had such a nice natural relationship where they fought, but you could tell they would do anything for each other, and it was just super well done. I loved it. I highly recommend it, and I gave it 4.5 stars. So those are the 6 books I read in January and February, and as you can tell from the ratings, I had a very successful 2 months of reading, and I got to some books I have been wanting to read for a very long time, so I'm very glad I finally got around to them. And I actually did so well on my TBR for once. I had 4 books set for February, and I read 3, and then I had 5 books set for January, and I read 3, so go me. Very proud. I actually was able to complete most of my TBR, so yay! And in the comments, if you read any amazing, spectacular books you want to talk about in the comments, let me know. I would love to hear what you have been reading. And if you want to find me elsewhere, my social medias are linked below. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. I shall see you soon. Bye!